Nice. Welcome back to Let's Talk Continuo. Today we're doing a little bit of Vivaldi cello sonatas. This is the first one, nice B flat major texture. The reason why I chose this one is because I think it really outlines a kind of playing and a kind of sound stage that we're going to set. That's helpful in a lot of different situations. And so let's talk about it. So, first of all, we've got this nice B flat major texture. It's very happy, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not too happy. You know what I mean? It's kind of melancholy in a way. And so, to me, right off the bat, your inclination is you're gonna want to belt these low notes. You know, you're gonna want to sit on some stuff. You're gonna create enough juice to sort of keep everything together. And actually say that is the wrong idea. I think actually in situations like this, the idea is good in terms of like, okay, yeah, I want more sonic energy. However, the actual application of that, if you add in a bunch of core, you add in a bunch of, you're sitting there making decisions and you're playing in a way that's like, we're going to stop here, and we're going here, and we're going to go there. It's going to make people unhappy. It's going to get in the way, and it's also going to kind of make everything sound a little bit clunky, which, it can happen. So let's talk about how can you achieve that without stepping on everyone's toes at the same time. And I think personally, all you got to do is you're going to take the bow, you're going to put it radically farther up the fingerboard. I almost think you're going to be playing on top of the fingerboard sometimes. We're going to be using like about half as much core. We're also going to be using about double the amount of bow at all times. And then we're going to take extra care to really just feather everything. So things are not going to start really defined and they're not going to end really defined. We're going to try and like blend the front and the beginnings of everything as much as we possibly can to create this sense of like you're in the background, but you're creating this really nice, healthy, sonic background that makes everyone happy. So let's get to the brass tacks about this. I'm going to show you guys, first off, let's mute this bass track so you can just hear my wonderful solo tones. And let's talk about this. So I'm going to play it this first time. I'm going to use a bunch of core. I'm going to show you guys why you don't want to do it. You're going to listen and you're going to hear every decision that I'm going to make is final. There's no flexibility. In terms of the intonation, there's no flexibility. In terms of, how things are going, in terms of like the tempo or whatever, no flexibility. It's like those notes are starting and they're stopping. This can be really good. It can be really effective sometimes. However, I think you'll find in this case, you'll notice exactly what I'm talking about. Everything is final. There's no second choice. So let's take a listen. So you see already what we're talking about. It just sounds kind of like comical in a way. Now, a lot of people they'll play like that, so you gotta check yourself. Okay, so now let's just take it the other direction. So here's what I want to see. I want to see a little bit of this. Instead of starting the note like this, notice how I making a defined start. We're actually gonna go like this. Right? Notice how I'm really gently easing that note in. Yeah, there's still a starting point. And this is where the meat of the note is, right about here. So we go, and notice out here at the tip, I'm using almost no pressure. And I'm getting this kind of sound. And This is what I mean by the feather, by the way. So you're going to be like... See how it's just really blended. It's really blended, really blended. So I'm going to play this with a track. I'm going to show you the power of doing it slightly like this, all right? Let's see if I can actually start it on time this time. You know, that might be nice. So you see, I was taking some risks with kind of pushing farther down. We're going to talk about that in a second. You know, I kind of maybe correct a few notes. But you notice, even in just the very first note, the fact that I didn't just start it, it meant that, like, you know, I could kind of like fudge it just slightly, but it was flexible. It wasn't a defined thing. And when we started and when we were just like, you know, even and later on, let's just talk about actually this just very first phrase, just this very first phrase. And let's see where my bow is. Let's see what's going on there. I misjudged it. One more time. To kind of pump that volume in that one part, like there's the and then I can kind of pump the volume here, right? But I'm also not like covering it up. I'm not going right. That's kind of ridiculous, right? We want something more like this. I can't catch that today. One more time. You got this. There it is. Okay, so now let's not make it so I have to catch myself. You'll notice I was doing some classic mezzo da voce kind of compression stuff where in those suspensions you do the... All right, that's a classic right there. I think that everybody should do that. Honestly, if you're not doing that, you're kind of missing out, all right? So let's go here and let's give myself a little bit of a lead in. I'm going to talk about kind of the B section where we start to roll and why it's really important to just keep this. You're going to kind of create this like big sort of fuzzy resonance and you're going to just let it roll until the very end. Check this out. Let's try this again, and now I'm going to play it with a bit more core and a bit more assertiveness, and I'm going to show you how it's just going to ruin it. I feel like I'm like a marching major, you know, ta 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 ta. Yeah, you don't want that. That's sort of boring to me. It's boring to my ears. So let's try it again. And what I'm going to show you is, you notice how much bow I'm starting to use. I'm just going to open up the stop. So I'm almost using whole bows on stuff. also we're being very careful not to honk the end there, right? It's like we know we're in F major. We've been playing in F major since pretty much from here. And especially taking care. I think if there's one note that you should not honk, there's one note. It's that last C, right? And we can actually kind of use that C to do something nice. We can really take the dynamic down there, and also at the same time still be supportive, right? Because we got the. So you come out to the tip with the down bow. We're gonna go out to the tip, and then we're gonna use this area over here. Notice where my elbow is. And we're just gonna slightly touch that note, and then we're already in that nice smoky texture, so we can just kind of take advantage of it there. So check it out. Nice. So you see, kind of using this texture like that, it kind of opens up a little bit more possibilities, but what I think it does is it just makes everything so much more flexible, and it sort of lets you stick onto the solo parts a little bit better, because it kind of gives you the flexibility to follow and to change and to do other things, rather than if you start to play things with more core and more definition, that's great, but it also brings more core and definition to your sound, which means that you're not going to be able to change like on a dime. Like if the soloist is speeding up or slowing down, there's just sort of no leeway in there. I think that that's good if you're in a position where like you really don't want to be providing any leeway. Like, you know, it needs to be super metronomic and you're going to keep it that way. But I'd say 90% of the time, you don't really need that as a continuo cellist. The harpsichord kind of already takes care of that. So what we can do is we can kind of provide this really nice sonic pad that's very flexible and it's very pleasing, but it's also very present. You'll notice that no time was I just like sort of melted off into the background. You couldn't hear me. You just saw my bow moving around and there was nothing going on. It's very present, but it's also just sort of, you know, it's present in a way that doesn't cover everything up, which I think is sort of rule number one about playing continuo. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to try and pick the schedule back up here, and you know what? Hey, if you liked it, maybe throw a like on there. And if you want to see more stuff like this, then maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, you know? And if you have any comments about this, if you have anything that you want to ask specifically about bow technique stuff, then hey, leave a comment and I will be sure to answer it. Thank you for your time.